40 minutes before anyone checked the traffic, they already knew. They'd run the route 3 times in their head before dessert arrived, or the way they changed the subject at the family table 1 second before the argument everyone can feel building. Ever been the one who sees it coming and says nothing? This one's for you. Today we're decoding 6 quiet habits of people who think 3 steps ahead. Not loud strategy, not obvious planning. The kind that runs so quietly most people only notice after the fact. The 6th one is the habit most people mistake for something else entirely. These habits don't announce themselves. They rarely look like planning or feel like control. The moment you explain what you see coming, you risk becoming the person who ruined the surprise. So you stop explaining. The pattern keeps running. Sign 1. They adjust before the problem arrives. You've seen this. A group dinner, 7 people, everyone locked into the plan. Somewhere around the second round, one of them casually says, "We should probably leave by 8. Nobody asks why. Nobody even looks up. The conversation keeps going, the plates keep coming, and the suggestion just sits there like background noise. 2 hours later, the whole table is stuck in traffic that seemed to come from nowhere. Except it didn't come from nowhere. That person checked. They ran the sequence while everyone else was still ordering. Departure time, traffic window, the stretch of highway that always chokes after 9. They mapped the delay before it had a name. And they didn't explain. They didn't pull a phone out and show the traffic app. They just dropped one quiet sentence and kept eating. Nobody in that car connects the dots. They don't realize someone saved them 40 minutes of gridlock. They just think the timing worked out. That's the first habit. It runs so quietly you almost forget someone made it happen. Maybe you recognize yourself? Or the person who has quietly been doing it for you. Sign 2. The question no one understands yet. Sunday dinner, the family's planning the drive everyone's been talking about for months. The scenic route through the mountains. Everyone's excited. And then one person asks what happens if the pass is closed when they get there. The table goes quiet. Someone laughs it off. They checked the forecast. Clear skies all week. 2 weeks later, the pass is closed. Snow in late April. It had happened around the same time 3 years in a row. Now the car is sitting at a gas station with no signal and no backup route, except one person already had the alternate pulled up. They'd checked the closure history, saw the pattern, and mapped the detour before anyone packed a bag. That question at dinner wasn't random. It was the tail end of a sequence that started before the trip did. It happens. Nothing dramatic. Just a question that landed before anyone was ready to hear it. And the person who asked never brought it up again. That's part of the habit. Sign 3. They go quiet when it counts. This one looks like disengagement. A conversation heats up, voices sharpen, opinions start stacking on top of each other. And one person stops talking. They lean back slightly. Their eyes move more than their mouth. To someone sitting across from them, they look like they've mentally drifted off. They didn't leave the conversation. They shifted registers. Psychologist John Flavell used the term metacognition for the mind's ability to monitor its own thinking. In a room like this that can look less like disengagement and more like active internal checking, what's actually happening is something closer to, observation isn't quite the right word. It's processing. They're tracking who's reacting from emotion, who's anchored to the facts, and where the room is going to land. They know the loud voices won't settle it. They're waiting for the conversation to arrive at what they saw 10 minutes ago. And when the noise dies down and someone asks, "So what do you think?" they don't repeat the argument. They offer the angle the volume buried, and it lands differently because it wasn't competing with anything. That quiet may be the most active thing in the room. The first 3 habits are about what they notice. The next 3 are about what they quietly do with it. Sign 4. What you forgot. They didn't. You mentioned something 3 weeks ago. A passing comment about a headache that kept coming back. Or a friend you hadn't heard from. You forgot you said it. They didn't. They don't remember everything. They remember the detail that changed the pattern. A shift in your tone. The second time you skipped lunch, the hesitation before you said you were fine. None of it looked important on its own. Together, it left a trace. Then one day, they send a message. How did that thing go? And you're standing there trying to remember what thing. You probably remembered a specific moment just now, not a concept, a time. Sign 5. the save you never saw. There was a risk. Maybe they noticed the peanut oil in a recipe the night before a family dinner where one of the grandchildren has a severe allergy. Or they caught the wrong date on a birthday reservation that would have left 12 people standing outside a closed restaurant on a Saturday night. They didn't announce it. They quietly swapped the ingredient, called the restaurant, fixed it before anyone knew there was anything to fix. Think of it like an edit someone made to a sentence before anyone read the draft. Or no. Closer to a hand steadying a glass at the edge of the table before anyone noticed it was about to fall. The problem never existed because someone erased it before it had the chance to. And that's the paradox. The better they do it, the less anyone sees what they did. You've seen this before. You might even be the person who does it. Sign 6. The one most people get wrong. This is the one from the opening. The habit most people mistake for something else entirely. It looks like pessimism. It looks like distrust. It looks like someone who can't fully commit to a good thing because they're always scanning for the way out. That's not what's happening. Gary Klein's premortem asks what could go wrong before it does. This habit uses a similar logic in reverse. Instead of rehearsing failure so they can prevent it, they map the exit so their mind can stop rehearsing disaster and return to what is actually in front of them. The exit wasn't distrust, it was architecture, and that reframe changes how you read them. The person who checked the return policy before buying the gift didn't doubt the relationship. They cleared the noise so the gesture could be clean. The person who mapped the nearest hospital before the road trip wasn't anxious. They were making room to enjoy the drive. Not every backup plan is foresight. Sometimes it is anxiety. The difference is what happens after it exists. Does it free them to be present or keep them scanning? Step back from the 6 for a second. They adjust before the problem arrives. They ask the question too early. They go quiet when it counts. They remember what you forgot. They protect you without telling you. They build the exit before walking in. Those aren't 6 separate habits. They're one operating system showing itself 6 different ways. And here's the paradox. When it works, most of the evidence disappears. The traffic is avoided, the reservation is fixed, the argument never starts. The person they protected may never know there was a risk, so the room calls it luck. It notices foresight only when no one listened. These people don't predict the future. They notice weak signals early and move before the problem has a name. They adjust the timing, ask the strange question, steady the glass, and wait. Sooner or later, the room catches up. You've been doing this for years, the quiet adjustments, the questions that landed too early, the exits you built before anyone asked why. And somewhere along the way, someone probably called it overthinking. Someone told you to relax, to stop planning everything so far ahead, to just be present. Maybe it wasn't only overthinking. Part of it may have been a system built to reduce surprise. Now you have language for it. That's not a flaw. But every useful system has a cost. When it never powers down, preparation becomes vigilance, and foresight starts stealing the moment it was meant to protect. The question is whether the plan frees you to return to the present or gives your mind one more reason to keep scanning. You might already know who this video is about. The person who packed the extra thing, warned you about the delay, or asked the question nobody understood until it mattered. They may have spent years watching their preparation get mistaken for luck, caution, or overthinking. Share this with them. For once, let the person who quietly prevents the problem see that someone noticed the work. If this is the kind of decode that makes you stop and think, there are 3 new ones here every week. Each one takes apart a quiet pattern you may have felt but never had the words for. Subscribe so the next one finds you. Until next time, stay observant.